Hi, my name is Jessie Chen. I'm the holder of this diary. Call it When Traveling. Have you ever bothered with the idea, see, I knew it, by yourself? I have, and I did, and lots of times. Because I would not only be upset by the result in the end, but also start to prevent that happened beforehand, which is definitely exhausted. But thanks for what I experienced that day. I'm now able to find a way. December 24th, 2021, in Bratislava, Slovakia. It was Christmas Eve. While I was a child, I always had a dream to spend Christmas in Europe. More than 10 years had passed. My dream finally came true. However, I was at the same time aware that my child dream was pretty naive because Christmas is for family reunion, not for solo travelers. At 10 a.m., while I was eating breakfast, I suddenly found that Tesco would only open until 11 a.m. To avoid running out of food in the following days in Budapest, I went to shop some bread and instant noodles. In the afternoon, I feel like it became more and more empty outside, which was a big contrast to the hostel inside. Volunteers were crowded in kitchen, preparing for Christmas meal. Music was on. They worked delightfully with the music. At the moment, I suddenly knew why Portuguese girl told me they were like a family, because they did like a family. However, their happy family vibe just reminded me, well, I don't have family here, which distinguished my loneliness. Fortunately, the pizza I bought from Tesco was somewhat able to fulfill my lonely heart. A few moments later, a Netherlands girl named Lena, who just checked in, asked me if I wanted to go to the party in Wild. I was hesitated for 5 seconds and said, "No, I think I will just stay here." The reason why I was hesitated was because I was fighting a psychological war again. The angel on my left shoulder was telling me, "You should definitely go. Today is Christmas Eve. If you just stay in room, then you're gonna spend a dull Christmas." But the devil on my right shoulder was saying, "Do you forget your experience of the party some days ago? It was just volunteers gathering. You will be super bored. Why do you bother wasting your time? Don't do something not worthy." Lena then said, "Why not?" with an energetic tone. Because some days ago, I told her my concern. If it's boring, then you can just walk back. I was still hesitated. "You know what you want. Anyway, I'll be there," she said. She seemed to able to see through my heart and left these words for me. Though I just talked to her for 3 minutes, I feel like I do like her characteristic. She's so easy and open-minded. When she asked me why not, I did start to think, yeah, why not? Then I suddenly found I was a person who hates to do things seemingly in vain. And this is based on the idea of prevention, which ironically is a thing I really hate, because I feel like it's usually far from confidence, freedom, and simple life. After thinking a little bit, I then decided to go. I'm glad that I met Lena. While I was preparing to go out, my room came into Ecuadorian siblings. They wore Christmas headwear, which was absolutely cute, and I swear they are one of the most interesting people I have ever met. They were so energetic and were laughing all the time. If you were with them, you would be pumped into lots of happy energy. We then walked together to Wild Elephant Hostel for party. On the way, we stopped at a kebab and bumped into a couple from India. After chatting a little bit, we continued walk to the hostel. Few minutes later, we arrived at the party. Ecuadorian siblings and I went into the table football room. Few minutes later, a Hungarian guy came and suggested we teamed up to compete. Ecuadorian siblings was a team, and I was with Hungarian guy. Well, not embarrassed to tell you, I'm the worst player among four of us. After all, how can I compete with the people from Europe and Latin America, where the continents are covered with football soul, right? Because my skills sucked, Hungarian guy finally couldn't help but deprive my role of goalkeeper. I had to admit that he was really good at the game. As soon as our roles changed, we suddenly swept like a storm. But unfortunately, it was too late to reverse our poor situation. Sorry, man, that was my bad. After the game, I started to feel bored. I then grabbed my drink and sit alone on the sofa, thinking to leave after finishing that bottle. Suddenly, a guy came to sit on the other sofa in front of me. Probably he's bored too, I thought, so I decided to strike up a conversation with him. Where are you from? Well, you can tell from my face. India, I said. As soon as I heard his reply, I knew there's a great chance he has good sense of humor. And also, his voice is impressive. I was thinking he probably sings very well. And again, my intuition was magically right. But the most magical thing was he was studying in Helsinki, Finland, a country where I just went to visit and love it so much. We then talked for a while. It was a nice conversation. After talking to him, I felt like my social switch was turned on. I then went to talk with another Indian guy and his Egyptian friend. A few moments later, I left. I didn't have super fun there, but it was okay. On the roads, I was walking calmly and thinking nothing. And suddenly, I was so surprised that I didn't feel any regret. On one hand, it might because it wasn't as bad as my imagination. On the other, I was aware that once I didn't think further but just let it be, I would feel extremely comfortable. I feel like it's a good strategy to deal with any negative emotion coming from a regret or something unfortunate. And by the way, recalling that day now, surprisingly, I'm glad that I went to the party. Written by Jessie Chan. Thanks for your reading.